Hey guys, welcome back to another tutorial of how to make the cupped corset with caging. So this is a quick recap on our previous video, so let's head over to the new video. So now here are all my panels. So I have the front panels here. I'm going to start with the center front panel, and I'm going to be sewing from this line all the way down. That's the center front line. I take out my pins and take out my panels, then I start sewing from the hem. So I'm joining the two front panels together. Don't forget, we have the left and the right side of our bodies. Now here we go. So I'm going to grab my middle pattern, then I'll match the cup side that matches the center front. I do hope you understand. When you look at your drafting, you would understand, but even from what I'm doing, you can also take a cue from it. So I'm going to join one side of the middle side that matches either the left or the right. You go ahead and join it, and then using your sewing allowance that you left, you also go ahead and stitch starting from the hem all the way up. Now when I'm done joining the one to my right, I'll go ahead and join the one to my left, and then I'll bring my third panel, which is my side panel as well, and I'll go ahead, take out my pins, take out my pattern, then I'll pick the side that matches my right, and I'll go ahead and stitch on my right side starting from the bottom, just like I did to pattern 1 and 2. Then I'll also go ahead and do the same thing on the other side, right? Then I'll come back to show you what to do. Now this is what the front side looks like after it's been joined. You can see that I have my lines facing the way I want it. So now I'm just going to go ahead and open press all my sewing allowances. Now I'm spraying water so that everything lies nicely, and I'm using also a steam iron, so don't forget to do that as well. So now I just went ahead to cut out strips of this green net. Is about 3 inches wide. I'm going to use it to cover the boning for my boning channel. Now this is the boning I'm using. It's called the Rigilin boning, some call it the sewable boning. So it comes in a bundle like this. You can buy it in yardage as well, but I usually just buy a bundle because I need a lot for a project, or I can also use it for other projects, and I work with a lot of corsets, so I usually just buy the bundle. Now I'm going to grab the boning and I place it in between the net. For the net, I'm doubling 2 layers of it, then I'll fold the 2 layers in half, and I'm going to have about 4 layers. So by the time I double everything and I sew it together, I'm going to, well, there is no specific number of layers you should have. It just depends on what works for you and how much covering you get from your net. So it's going to be a total of 8 layers that covers my boning, because I'm using 2 layers of net. I'll fold it in half, and then I place the I place my boning in between that. So by the time I cover it again, it's going to be a total of 8 inches. But depending on how thick your net is, or if your boning matches the color of your fabric, then that would be fine. but at the end of the day I'm going to have 8 layers covering my boning. So by me looking at what I'm doing, you can have an idea of what I'm talking about. So you can see that the boning is covered. So by the time I do that, I'm going to go ahead and stitch on it. Now I'll stitch on one side of the boning first before I trim it off and I place it on the fabric, that's on my blouse, on my corset itself. Then I follow it with extra with another sewing. Now you can see what it looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and sew it on the corset itself now. That's on the blouse. So what I'm going to do is just lay it across one of the lines, the sewing lines like this. So I'm going to use that to cover the stitching lines. So when I place it close to the line, on that same line where I stitch the boning on top of the fabric, I'll just go ahead and sew. But before then, I'm going to leave allowance with just the net on the upper side, so that by the time I'm sewing my lining together with the blouse, I won't be dealing with boning on that side. So the boning is going to start like an inch away from wherever I'm going to start sewing it from. Now I experienced a lot of thread cutting at this side, at this point, but I think my fabric actually added to it, because the fabric had like a nylon feel to it as well. It's a crepe fabric, but it has like a nylon feel to it as well. But that was what I had to deal with. So in case you have to deal with that as well, just know that it's normal and we all go through it. Now at the hem, I'm just going to fold in the excess fabric or the excess net that I have, and then I double fold on top of, to like close the seam line totally, right? So when I do that, I'll go ahead and stitch just at the edge of that net there. So I'll gently go ahead and stitch that. Now to push in the net inwards is a little bit difficult, so I went ahead to use a long needle to just help me in arranging that point to go in. So in case you have an issue pushing in the net, you can also use your needle to tuck that in, right? So I think I'll add a clip of me tucking the needle so that you see what it looks like. Now this is what it looks like when I was done with the front. So I'll just go ahead and do the same thing on the back, right? So you can see that the corset is taking shape. That's why it's actually looking deconstructed. But before then, I will go ahead and give it a good press, and then I'm spraying water on it because I'm going to be ironing and it's net, so you don't want anything burning or too much heat being applied. So I'm just going ahead to spray enough water, and I'll go ahead and give it a nice press, then we continue. Now I went ahead to do the cup. So this is going to be the outer layer of the cup. So I'm going to show you how I sewed this cup as well on the lining piece. So I cut the lining exactly the same with the outer layer. So I'm going ahead to join my patterns together. Now you remember I told you to label, and I also made a notch so that I know which side is facing which side, right? So also don't forget that I asked you to label. So the center front of the upper layer and the center front of the lower layer is where I'm going to join them together. So that center front is to signify the notched area. That notched area is actually supposed to signify the center front for me, and then I'm going to go ahead and change thread back to the thread that I need, right? So for this, so I'm changing it to a nude thread, so you can see. So I'm going to go ahead and join it using the sewing allowance that I left. I'll quickly join it together, and I'll do the same thing for the next one, then I give it a quick press. After open pressing nicely, I just added hairstay. This is totally optional. I just did that so that it gives it extra strength and it looks fine with extra structure, and it also holds the seam allowance down, so you can omit that point actually. So I did the same thing, and I went ahead to iron the main fabric as well, and open pressed and added hairstay just like I did to the lining piece. I went ahead to cage the lining part of the bust cup. This video is going to be up after this very one that you're watching, so the video is coming up as well. That's why I did not include it. So by the time I was done caging, I'm going to go ahead and join everything together, right? So I'll be linking this video on the caging video underneath this one as well. Now I went ahead to do the exact same thing on the lining. I joined my lining together and pressed it as well. So this is my lining piece. Now I'm going to grab, what I'm going to do is grab the fabric to double check if everything sits nicely and join it together with the main bodies or the main corset body, right? So using a 1/4 inch measurement, I'm going ahead to sew round. Now remember, I labeled my cup, so the side seam will match the side seam and the center front will match the center front, and I'll go ahead and so when you're sewing towards the middle side or the underbust side, you have to be careful as you pull and try to arrange it so that you don't sew anything sitting improperly, right? So, and it is not a speed procedure, you have to gently do this. So I'll do the same thing on the other cup as well, and but before then, this is what it looks right, right? Then I'll go ahead and do the other cup. Now for the other cup, I'm starting from the center front, so by the time I'm done, this is what it will look like. I did the same thing on my lining piece, and then I joined the back side to my front bodice, right? Then I'm just going to go ahead and create another boning channel on the center back where it will enable my boning to where it will enable my eyelets to sit. So in between these boning channels is where the eyelet is going to sit, so there's going to be like an 1/2 inch to 1 inch gap in between them. So I'm just going to sew that boning channel, and then I'll leave like 1 inch for joining the lining to that center back, for joining lining to the main fabric together at the center back as well. So just like I did the other nets joining, is the same thing I'm going to do here. So if you've not seen my video on how to make an illusion neckline, do go ensure to watch that. I'll be linking it up here. So what I'm going to do now is to make my illusion neckline. Then I join my illusion neck to my main bodies, and then I'll join the entire body of the blouse together like you would normally join the neckline of your blouse, right? So that's what I'm just going to be doing, so there's no need to explain that anymore. So in case you don't know how to do that, I would link a video for you in the card and also in the description box for you to see. When I was done joining the neckline, I went ahead to join the center back piece of the lining to the main fabric, trim off excesses, made notches, and then I flipped it over to the right side, pushed it in with my scissors. Then I'll go ahead and join the illusion neckline. Then I'll give it a good press, and that will be it for the blouse. Then we'll head over to the skirt. Now, if you've not given me a thumbs up by now, I don't know what you're waiting for. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up, guys. Share this video with your friends, subscribe, and please hit the notification bell so that you get notified whenever I have a new video up on the channel. And see you in my next video, which will be the skirt part and how to join it to the blouse part, right? So see you guys.